Hey guys, Jason Leeno here. Today I thought I'd change it up instead of just laying around and stuffing my face like a fat kid relaxing on my week off. And I'd actually utilize my time and answer some questions that I've gotten since I started my 12-week training vlog. So without further ado, let's get things rolling. First question, if you could work out with any person or any historian, who would it be? Well, simple. It would have to probably be between Ed Coan and Arnold Schwarzenegger, as tacky as that sounds. Arnold Schwarzenegger, let's be honest, he's a stud. Like, he pretty much made bodybuilding. Like, you think bodybuilding, you think Arnold Schwarzenegger. And for those of you that don't know, Arnold Schwarzenegger was actually a powerlifter when he first started out back in the early days. And Ed Coan, well, let's be honest, if you follow any kind of powerlifting, you know Ed Coan. He was one of the most dominant powerlifters of all time. He started off pulling like 405 for sets, I think, at like age 14, and that's something I struggle with, and I'm almost 30, so I'd have to say those would be the top two trainees I would have to deal with to date. Next one, if you could do one exercise for the rest of your life, what would it be? That's simple. Deadlifts. Deadlifts are awesome. I find that they are probably one of the best full body exercises that aren't as taxing. And for example, think of a squat. You put 300 pounds on a bar and you go to squat it. When you unrack that weight, you're getting 300 pounds crushing down on you. And when it comes to a deadlift, you literally just have to pick it up off the floor. So the only thing taxing about the lift itself is going to be the ascend, right? So, and let's be honest, there's nothing a bit more manly than just picking weight up. At least that's my opinion. Let's see, next one. Choose a superpower that you would have. Despite me loving the Hulk, I would have to go with Wolverine, and the reason why I'd go with Wolverine is because he has regenerating health. Basically, he'll never die, and he can go as YOLO as he wants, and doesn't have to worry. So that would have to be my superpower. Let's see, how much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck's macros were low? A lot, I guess. Yeah, if its macros are low, you gotta bump those up. Okay. What are 3 simple tips that you would give someone who wanted to be healthier and start working out? Biggest thing, top 3, would be eating. Eating is key. Food is what heals you, what gives you energy, and what builds you stronger. You need to eat properly. You need to eat better. So don't go out and stuff your face with pizza and chips and think it's okay as long as it fits your macros. Eat actual clean food. It doesn't always have to be clean, but let's be honest. If you pour in regular, you're gonna get minimal results, but if you put in premium, you're gonna get best results. Now, the next thing I would have to say is just start being active, whether it is just going to the gym, doing sports, anything like that. More activity will cause more stress on your body, which will overall make you more active. And then thirdly, I would have to say consistency. You got all those people that come in every year, everybody knows it, January 1st, and they're the New Year's resolutioners that say, I'm going to lose 10 pounds, it's going to be great. And then they show up for maybe 3 weeks, and then they stop. And then guess what? You see them back again next January. Consistency is key. You know, I didn't go from being a 130-pound little scrawny weakling to the person I am today. Still small, but I'm a hell of a lot stronger, let's put it that way, guys. Let's see. Oh, stupid computer. Don't you hate it when they go into sleep mode? Like, I don't understand these freaking thing. Let's see. Alright, let's see. Where was I? Oh, why did you start a fitness YouTube channel? Well, it's actually pretty simple. So, like I just mentioned, I was a weak little scrawny guy, and I wanted to gain weight. So, I went around, ended up stumbling across bodybuilding.com. Got like just a generic program. Actually, it was Jim Stepani's 12 weeks, yeah, shortcuts the size, yeah, 12-week shortcuts the size, and I actually did put on a decent amount of weight. But then after that, you know, gaining strength, I started to realize, like, hey, I'm getting pretty strong, so I started to testing all my maxes, and with the motivation from a friend, I started focusing a little bit more towards like almost powerlifting styles. Not properly, nothing close to what I'm trying to accomplish today, more like just a PR chaser. But I called it powerlifting. So I started looking into powerlifting. I would type in powerlifting and I would Google and everything, but I would only ever see some of the greats, like Ed Cohn for one. Then there's Mark Bell. We got George Lehman, Brandon Lilly, you know, all those greats. And let's be honest, they're monsters. Like, just for example, Dan Green, he's 220, and I've seen him do like over 1,000-pound block pull and things like that. And these guys are huge and big and strong, and it's awesome to see. But when you're that small and, let's be honest, that insecure, it's kind of better to see somebody a little bit more realistic. And I couldn't really find that, at least when I was looking. Now it's a bit easier. But yeah, that's mainly why I wanted to be that realistic person for people to see actually make progress, like just reasonable progress, not special progress, if you know what I'm talking about. A little bit of vitamin T. But yeah, so I wanted to be that motivation, maybe even that inspiration of just, you know, knowing that somebody does start off small and it's not something that just you get overnight. That's another reason why I wasn't worried about starting my weights so low and advertising it, because let's be honest, you know, it's sweet to see people be like, oh yeah, you know, I squat like 300, 400 pounds. Well, I think it's a little bit better to see somebody struggle with 250, because we all had to struggle at some point, and it's a little bit easier to believe in yourself when you see others struggle just as well. Next question here. Let's see. Fitness YouTube channel. What was the greatest exercise success and the greatest failure you've ever had? Well, I would have to say the greatest success, in my opinion, I feel, would be the first time I pulled 405 pounds. And even though I've pulled over that now, my record's 430, 405 was the first time I actually set a goal. Like, I told myself, I'm going to hit 405. I'm going to be able to deadlift 405. And I just jumped on a program, and I slowly worked my way up. And guess what? Within, I want to say, 13 weeks, I went from a 335 to 340 up to 405, which was phenomenal. And anytime I think of like the greatest achievement I've ever had, that's always going to be a staple. With that being said, the greatest failure is me being a PR chaser, and instead of building up to a better lift, I would just go hams and try to pull something. So, for example, I ended up straining my lumbar, which ended up inflaming so bad that it pinched off my sciatic nerve and caused, we'll say, discomfort. And yeah, so I did that by trying to progressively work my way down on a lift. So for example, I started up like doing rack pulls, and I was going to work my way down to like a deficit to build like the ultimate deadlift. And I ended up pulling 495 455. Yeah, 455 for 3 off a rack pull. And I did it, and I felt great, and I was like, yeah, this is amazing. I'm going to go for it again. And instead of focusing and setting up, or hell, even listening to the signs of your body being really freaking sore, I tried to do it again, and I grabbed the bar, and I just yanked, and that was that. I felt the pull, and it didn't work out so well. It kind of took about 13 or so weeks of slow physiotherapy, things like that, to build my back to it being stable enough today to be able to train. So don't do that, kids. Let's see. What is your favorite movie? I would have to say any kind of like Rocky movie. Well, maybe not the one where he street fights and, that crap. That one's kind of pointless. And to be honest, maybe not even the one that's coming out. You want to know what? Let's just skip Rocky. Zach and Miri make a porno. Always laughs. Alright, so the significance of your tattoos. Oh, so if you haven't noticed, I have tattoos. I have 2 half sleeves on my arm. And yeah, so we'll start off with the easiest one, I guess. Now I gotta get up and do camera shots here. So on my left arm, if you can see, I have the Hulk fighting the Juggernaut. And the reason why I have the Hulk fighting the Juggernaut is because first and foremost, as a little kid, I always looked up to the Hulk and the Juggernaut, whether supervillain or villain. And the reason why is because the history of them, they weren't really the biggest guys. They weren't, they weren't the cream of the crop when it came to like aesthetics or just general strength or anything like that. But because of certain circumstances, whether it's special crystal for the Juggernaut or gamma radiation, they were able to go from these weak little guys to these just phenomenal powerhouses. And that's kind of what I wanted to do for the longest time, because who doesn't want to be big and strong? So I've kind of always looked up to them, and I felt since why not? They're a big part of my life, and since I am jumping into the fitness industry and working my way up like that, I thought it would be great. That, I'm a freaking nerd. And then we got the right arm here, which is a long quote and a kind of spooky, evilish jester. We'll start off with the quote. The quote is actually from Rocky Balboa. It is the speech he gives his son. So if I can repeat, it's not about how hard you get hit, it's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward, how much you can take and keep moving forward, because that is how winning is done. And for those of you who don't get that, it basically means no matter what life throws at you, you keep moving forward, because that's how winning is done. Basically, don't give up no matter what. And, like most people, I had kind of a rough, upbringing. My dad, for the longest time, was an alcoholic, and that caused a lot of issues, caused a lot of anxiety, a lot of emotions, things like that. And I was able to overcome and essentially better myself, because despite of all those dark times, I never gave up. Now moving on to the jester, as you may have seen, I'll show again just because it was quick. There is a Evil Dead kind of jester surrounded with a collar of cards. And the reason why I do that is because, like I said, I kind of had a rough upbringing. So my dad was an alcoholic. Money was always an issue with us. Even with me, I took those traits, and pretty much until I would say early 20s, I didn't get out of those bad traits of bad spending. So it essentially shows I come from horrible spenders, essentially. And the evil clown is basically, like I said, I had trouble with emotions, whether it was anxiety, depression, anger, things like that. It was my inner demon, and I always tried to hide that with humor. So basically, the Evil Dead jester with the cards. It's essentially all the things I've been able to overcome, and it's that reminder that I never forget. It's kind of like when you take a picture of yourself, and then you take another picture of yourself later down the line, you see the progress. Essentially the same thing, but it stuck on me for the rest of my life. With that being said, trouble with money, expensive tattoos, don't judge me. Let's see, what do we got next here, guys? Are there any benefits to 30-second fad workouts, or is it just better to start a program with serious amounts of time and effort? Well, that question seems pretty simple. Serious time and effort, guys. Those 30-second ab workouts where I like ab lounges, things like that, where you can maybe do 15 minutes and you'll burn off this many calories and look great for the summer. That doesn't work. Like I said, it really comes down to what you eat, what you put in, and how you treat your body and the effort you put in it. Like, you can be my size, for example, guy with a fast metabolism. You're going to have to eat 3 times as much as anybody else, and you're going to have to work probably 2 to 3 times as hard as anybody else. And that's just because of who you are. And so, for example, for me, if I got an ab lounge, it would probably just be a sweet chair. Or if I got another one of those things, the shake weight, that's not going to do anything. Those are pointless. Just put the time and effort in. Like I said, consistency is key. Next question. Let's see. Should men and women be able to fight each other in the same MMA division? No. The reason why is I'm not sexist. Just from a freaking general DNA standpoint, men are able to build muscle and repair muscle easier than women. So if you have a man who has been training for 30 years, they're going to have more muscle mass than a woman who is training for 30 years. Not saying a woman couldn't kick guy's ass, Ronda Rousey. But it doesn't mean that it should happen. It's just, it wouldn't be a fair fight. It would be like if a 200-pound man punched me in the face. It would hurt, I would go down, it would not be pretty. People want to see that, but it's not really that fair. So no, men and women should not fight each other in mixed martial arts. Let's see. Benefits. Favorite TV show? Let's see, favorite TV show. It's a lot of stupid TV shows. I would have to say overall, Breaking Bad. It made me have the most feels. You know, anger, sadness, happiness, laughter. Breaking Bad was pretty sweet. If you could get paid to do one job forever, what would it be? Honestly, I'd probably have to say either something like this or owning a gym. And the reason why that is because I like to help people. I like to work out. And there's really nothing better than that. You know what I mean? Like, it's like 2 birds, 1 stone. Alright. What childhood item do you miss most to date? I would have to say, out of all the ones I've lost, it would probably have to be my regular Nintendo. You know, those little box Nintendos that you have to put the cartridge in and push down? As a child, I thought it would be fun to see what was inside, so I smashed it with a hammer. And then I grew up and realized that they can go for $120. That kind of pisses me off. Moving on. What's the proudest moment in your life? As cheesy as this is going to sound, meeting my girlfriend Miranda. She made the biggest dent and the biggest impact in my life to cause the change that I've made today. Let's see. If you could make one law, what would it be? And if you get rid of one law, what would it be? That's a weird one. Never really thought about that. Not one for politics. I would have to say, as hippie as it may sound, and as vegan as it may sound, probably like the food industry crap. So, being able to get away with abusing animals or pumping food full of chemicals and artificial ingredients and things like that. I think that has caused a lot of problems with our society today and probably a lot of illnesses as well. And that is a law I would implement that just couldn't happen. It would have to be done properly, and it would also be a law I would get rid of. The laws that exist for that bullshit to happen today, it's pointless, and it's almost redundant for me to say because I do go grocery shopping and buy the produce and all that stuff as well, but I know what's implemented in like the pesticides and things like that, and I could do better, but we live in a world of convenience. But this is a Q&A, so I'm allowed to answer any question I want the way I want. Let's see. would you rather be able to speak every human language, or would you rather be able to speak animal? I would have to say animal. And the reason why I would rather be able to speak to animals is because you can learn any human language that you want, but you can't learn how to speak to animals. And since I have 4 cats and a dog, I kind of want to know what the hell they're thinking when I feed them. Like, are they excited, or do they think I'm just their little slave? Like, if they think they're these powerhouses, I want to set them straight. You know, this is my house. My rules. I buy their food. They have to deal with me. Alright, so what is your biggest regret? What's my biggest regret? I would have to say not believing in myself. Like, I do now, but, you know, no one really feels confident when they start growing up. And then a lot of, you know, some people do believe in themselves sooner than others, but it took me a while. And I think my life could have turned around a lot sooner, and it would have been just if I believed myself and, you know, didn't care about the anxiety issues or anything like that. Alright, let's see what we got. Oh, you stupid computer, what the crap? Alright. Let's see. Alright, this is the last question, guys. What is the most impacting conversation, inspiring conversation that you've had with someone? Actually, that's pretty easy. This happened almost a year ago. So, at my old gym, there was a former bodybuilder who owned it, and he was great. He was from the States. His name was Mark. Can't remember his last name, but he really earned his keep. Like, he won a few big shows, and it was just one day I was just in there lifting. I think I was just doing heavy singles. I think I was maybe about 385, 390. And he was just working out, you know, minding his own business. And I was just pulling. And then after I just took a couple minutes break, you know, I saw him walk over. And I'm like, oh man, is he going to give me crap? Like, you know, I'm using chalk, things like that. And he came over to me and he wanted to shake my hand. You know, then he went on and continued saying, like, you know, he's been in the business for almost like 30 years, and it's rare to see someone, you know, like me, like as little as me, pick up that kind of weight. And he just wanted to say, like, how impressed he was and things like that. And then we continued talking, and then, you know, he asked, like, if I ever had any kind of inspirations, like, to powerlift or anything like that. And I never thought anything of it until really that day, because having somebody, you know, as big and as great as, like, you know, a former pro bodybuilder to come over to you and, like, just from across the gym, doesn't even know who you are, you're just this little 130-pound white kid in a small town like Collingwood, and he wants to shake your hand and be like, listen, you know, you're not nothing, you are something, and you need to take what you have and you need to go. That is very motivating, and to be honest, that is probably one of the most impacting things that has happened and has started me on the journey that I'm doing today. But yeah, so that was the last question. I hope you guys liked it. I thought it was actually kind of fun. Little weird questions, can't complain. If you like it though, feel free to drop in any questions anytime you want. I have the Instagram, I have the Twitters, I have the Facebook, you know, and I have the YouTube channel. Let's be honest, you know, whether you guys like it or not, I'm going to just continue talking because I'm having a blast. So, do me the favor, go down below, hit the like, share, subscribe, leave me some comments, and I'll see you guys next time.